Hello Max, age 5, and hello Amelie, sorry, and hello Callan again. It's great to have some people coming back to every lesson, fantastic. Hello, another Alex as well, and Arabella from Milton Keynes, and Martha from Newcastle. Good morning, Jessie. Okay, let's get going. Right, welcome everyone to Page 1 lesson, this time on measurement. Okay, we're going to be doing this a bit differently to maybe the normal way you've talked about measure. I think it's a really important area of maths because we use measurement all the time. People are always measuring things. It's how the world works, it's how the world has worked for a long time. So we need to not just know how to use a ruler and things like that, but I want to make sure we know how big different things are. And this starts early. So after this lesson, I want you to keep thinking about how long is that? How much water is in that? How heavy is that? It will really help you later on. So always think about how big different things are that you see in the world. Okay, so we're going to start with a bit of a warm-up. You are going to need to be doing some adding up today. So we're going to do a bit of warm-up with adding, and we're going to do what's called a number pyramid. Okay, so when you're using a number pyramid like this, the way it works is you add together the two blocks next to each other in the pyramid to get the one above. So I'll show you what I mean with this one on the board. Some of you might have done these before, you might know what to do straight away. So if we've got this pyramid, I'll just copy it down here so you've got this one to look at for the next ones. So 3 and 2 in the bottom there, and 4, and then as a pyramid goes, you've got blocks above them like that. So to get this block, I look at the two blocks underneath, which are 3 and 2, and I add them together. So 3 plus 2 gives me 5. To get this block here, I'm going to look at these two blocks here. 2 plus 4 gives me 6. And then to get the final block at the top, I can add together these two blocks, 5 and 6, to give me 11. And I've completed that number pyramid. So it's getting you adding up going. I'm going to put some like that on the board, and then on this board here, I'm going to put a super challenge question for you as well. But try the ones on the board first. So you need to copy out some of these number pyramids roughly, and see if you can fill them in, just to get you adding up going, just a bit of a warm-up. So here they are. There's the example on the board there. See if you can work out each one of those number pyramids, which numbers goes in the missing blocks. If you have any problems at all, please just send me a message on the chat and I'll try and explain a bit more to you there. Okay? So all you're doing is you draw the pyramid out. First one's really easy. Like that. You've got 4 and 5, and how are you going to get the top block?
4 and 5 by adding them together equals 9.
Exactly, there we go. Okay, so there's one extra challenge there on the board if you manage to finish all those 7 on the TV. If you're not sure, if you just come up late, I just want to show you how I did this first one on the board here. Just ignore me if you know what you're doing. So I started with these two blocks here at the bottom of the pyramid, and I just added them together to get the one above. So 3 plus 2 is 5, so my 5 goes in there. To get this block here, I'm going to do my 2 plus 4, because these two blocks add to make the one on top of it. 2 plus 4 is 6, and then I can go all the way up to the top because I've got these two blocks. 5 plus 6 gives me 11, and I've finished that number pyramid. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to everyone now in what to do.
I don't really understand the 3 blocks.
So do your 5 and 6 first.
Yep.
So on the 3 block one here, the first block you're going to do is a 5 plus 6, and that will give you an 11 for that block there. Okay, so you do the 2 blocks underneath to get the 1 on top.
Daddy, I still don't really understand the 3s.
Well, have you drawn it out first? You
Yeah.
need to draw it out first, yeah. Which one do you think you worked out?
I haven't even worked out 1 yet.
Get the 2 blocks next to each other, and that adds up to that one above it.
But what is that? What is in that box?
Those 2 underneath it, look at the 2 underneath it.
Mm.
And then you add those 2 together to get that one, don't you? That's it. Okay, you got it now?
Not really.
Try the next one. I'll draw it out neat for you. Next one, yeah?
Okay.
If you want to help your children draw these out first, that would be great. It does help if you've got a neater diagram. Okay, so how are you going to get that block then?
Of those 2?
That's right, good, you've got it now. Is that better with a bigger diagram?
Yeah. Daddy,
Well, Layla, all done, Luke, all done already, fantastic work. Remember there's that a special one on the board as well to have a look at. Hello Charlie, hello Oliver, and hello Maya as well. Maya, sorry.
can you help me draw out another diagram?
Okay, just another minute on this and then we are going to move on to the main bit of the lesson.
What's the main bit of the lesson?
Measuring, isn't it? Okay, right, going to start by looking at this super tricky one here, and this is a bit like your part whole stuff, because if you've got 17 as a whole, you've got 12 as a part there, what's your other part got to be there? What do you reckon, Thea?
What? So, this is what you do. So, you take away 12 from 17, and what you've got left is your other part.
Very good, and what's that going to be then?
That would equals 5.
Very good, well done, under pressure as well. So that's a 5 there. Then we can add up as we go. 5 plus 3 is 8, and 17 plus 8 is 25. Okay, so the answers for you on the board, if you've I've not put the answers in. Oh no, I've not put the answers in for that. Right, just quickly, so you've got 9 for that one, you've got 12 for that one, 13, 30, this is 11, this is 15, 26, we've got 15, 17, 32, and we've got 28, 36, 7, and then add those together gives you 65. Okay, so your number pyramid's there. Okay, so I chose pyramids for another reason as well, because we're going way back in time to when we started talking about measurements. So, on the main part of the lesson. So, different things we measure, and the different things you need to be concerned about measuring all the way up to the end of primary school, at the end of year 2, so if you were taking your little exam at the end of this year, your little test, you would be expected to understand how to measure these different things. So we measure distances all the time. Think about maps, think about journeys. We need to know how far we are going. Okay, really important. When you ask that question in the car, are we nearly there yet? Are we nearly there yet? Are we nearly there yet? Without knowing about distances, your mum and dad can never tell you. Weight. If you are cooking, anyone like cooking out there? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you like baking. You need to measure out the right ingredients. So we need to know how much of something, how heavy something is, so that we can actually cook and make the right result. And then we also have volume. Bit of a posh word, that one, but the volume you're going to be working with is liquids. It's how much can fit inside a bottle. So you get different sized bottles of pop, don't you? You get the big bottles that you share, you get ones for yourself. You get the really small bottles like fruit shoots. They all have different amounts of liquid inside them. So we talk about the volume, how much fills up of 3D space. So these are the 3 things you need to know about. We're going to be concentrating on distances today. Okay, we've been measuring some distances. Okay, and it all starts from a long, long time ago. A long time ago, when the Egyptians ruled, they built the Great Pyramids. Amazing, considering they had no technology. But they invented the first measure, which was called the cubit. Look, Joseph. Anyway, serious notes, okay? The cubit was one of the first known measurements we had. And they built those amazing pyramids, these Egyptians, with these heavy blocks, one of the wonders of the world. And they did it all with so much maths in it, so much measurement, and they didn't even have proper rulers, proper measuring devices. So they came up with the cubit. Okay? The cubit is the distance from your elbow to the top of your finger. So everyone had rulers on them, everyone had things to measure with. So from the elbow to the tip of your finger. Okay? So the first thing I want you to work out, how many cubits tall are you? How tall do you think you are in cubits? So measure yourself, and I want you to post on the chat, how tall do you think you are in cubits? So think about what a cubit is. It's from there to there. Quite difficult to measure yourself, isn't it? We're going to talk about these difficulties in a bit.
5.
So how many cubits do you think you are? 5 cubits, okay. And then post how many cubits you think you are, please, on the chat. Maybe, if you can't measure yourself, maybe you can get someone else to help you, because it's quite difficult to measure yourself, isn't it, with your own ruler, which is one of the difficulties about using cubits.
My ruler isn't a cubit.
No, it's not, is it, no?
So I actually just use my arm.
Okay, has anyone managed to measure themselves in cubits? So we're measuring the cubit. If it does go blurry, I am looking at moving to YouTube potentially next week. But just if you reload it, it'll come up. It's Facebook's obviously not great for videos. So if it goes blurry, just reload it. But we are measuring yourself with cubits. Okay, we've got Dante is 3 cubits tall. Okay, Sarah, I'm not sure that's your mum, 4.5 cubits. Henry is 3 cubits. Okay, we got Lauren is 4 cubits as well. We got loads of people. Sunny and Ruben say they are 5, and Ruben is pretty tall at 6 cubits. So we got lots of cubits. Okay, Theo, you reckon you're 5 cubits, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
4 2/4.
4 and 2/4 maybe, 4.5 cubits. Okay, so we've got all these different values. Okay, now cubits. I want to think about it. It's not the best thing to measure yourself in, is it? A cubit. Okay, so think about the issues while we're having that. So that was your warm-up for qubits. I've now got a qubit challenge, okay? So you need a bit of a space. Okay, this is a den building challenge, okay? So, in fact, we're going to change that. How many qubits? Did we say 5 qubits here?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 qubits. Okay, so imagine you are building a fence, okay, to sit inside, a cage if you like almost. You need to build yourself a fence to sit inside, but you only have 5 qubits of fencing. We're going to use string if you've got string, or you can use whatever you want. You can use jumpers, trousers, rugs, just something. You've got 5 qubits of fencing, and you need to build yourself on the floor your fence with your 5 qubits. But you need to make it big enough so you can completely sit inside it without touching any of the string at all. So that is your challenge. So you have 5 qubits. So, for example, you might choose to do something like this. You might put your string down like this, which is 5 qubits of string. Remember, you've got 5 qubits. So you need to measure that out yourself. You've got 5 qubits of string. You would do that, and then you would sit inside it. No idea how I'm going to do all that, but... Okay, so you need to make yourself your own little den out of 5 qubits. So use the string you've got, use whatever you've got at home, and you need to make yourself a nice space and see if you can squeeze inside it. You must sit down in it. It's too easy to stand up. I want you to sit down inside your qubit den. Okay?
Daddy, can you help me
5 qubit den. Have you measured out 5 qubits here? You need to measure out 5 qubits, don't you?
I can't use a ruler.
So, well, use your hands.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you what Theo is doing now. Okay, Theo is measuring his string. He's trying to measure out 5 qubits of string, and then we're going to cut it out, and we're going to make our den out of that.
Okay. Can you help me?
Okay, what do you want to do it here, Theo?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got your first qubit.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 1 qubit. Okay, do you want to move your arm up to the next qubit, to there? 2. Probably better on the floor. 3. 4. 5 qubits. So we got our 5 qubits. And Theo now needs to make a den out of that and see if he can squeeze inside it. Okay?
Okay. Like the scissors.
You don't need the scissors. You can cut it up if you want, yeah? That's fine, yeah?
Make it a bit more.
You have to do it in different sides. Yeah. You can cut your string up if you want. If you want to make a rectangular pen, absolutely fine, entirely up to you.
Okay. So. Okay. That'll be a good distance. Okay. Nice distance.
Okay, so you're trying to make yourself a nice thing that you can fit inside. You can cut it with string. If you haven't got string, use whatever you want. Okay, you can use paper, or you can just try and lay it out, just make an invisible den, but just check you've got enough space to sit inside. Or maybe you can put your mum or dad inside the den, and you can measure around with your qubit like that around the outside. We are going to play some time bingo at the end as well, see if you've learned how to tell the time from the last lesson. Don't worry about tying it up there, you can just lay it out so it's touching. So you're going to waste string if you do that, aren't you? That's cool there. Oh, you're running out of string. Pretty tight 5 qubits, you're going to have to sit in a very small ball.
That's when you think about your distance.
If anyone's in your dens as well and you're fitted, if you want to take some pictures of people in their dens and send them over at some point, then we'll give out some den certificates as well if you manage this challenge. Okay, I'd love to see some pictures of that. Anyone else managed to get in their dens yet?
Oh, that's way too small. Daddy, I need a different.
You can just put it together. You can just put it together and line it up. So can't you bend that one over? Put that there.
Yeah.
Can we squeeze inside? It doesn't need to be a rectangle. Can you bend that like that? Can you squeeze inside that, do you think?
No. I would put that the distance too much.
Is that going to fit? Is that going to close the gap? That looks good.
I'll need it a bit wider.
Okay, it is tight to fit in, isn't it? It is tight. You're going to have to squeeze in a really, really small ball to get into it. Lots of people got in their dens. Fantastic work, fantastic.
I've done it. I have to do this though.
Yeah, Theo is in his den, definitely. He doesn't look very comfortable, but he's in his den.
Actually, I am quite comfortable.
Callum's in his den as well. Paige fits just brilliant. Lots of people in their dens. Looks like Alex is in his den as well. Eliza is just squeezed in. Okay, well, I did say it was a den building challenge, so I want to make it easy for you. William and Tilly fit in their cubic den. I hope they're not in the same one, that would be very tight. Hannah just fit in as well. Brilliant work. So we have fit in our dens. We're going to give you 30 seconds more to fit in your dens, and then we'll move on with this, okay?
This is actually quite comfortable. Just look how comfortable I am. Daddy, look how comfortable I am. Literally so comfortable.
It's not bad, yeah, you've got a good shape there.
Try to make it
Okay, right, just hold it there. Let's just have a think about what we know about this den. Okay? You probably use up all the string you've got, all the fence you've got, because you want to be as comfortable as possible in your den. You want to make it as big as possible. So this string all the way around the outside, we know is 5 cubits. And this is a really important word that you are not normally taught until a lot later on in school. But the problem with that is you get it mixed up with something else you're taught then. So I want you to all learn this word now. Now the distance around the outside of your shape, of a den, of a square, of a rectangle, of a triangle, of a parallelogram, the distance around the outside, the string you use to make it with, is called a really important word, the perimeter. So the perimeter of your dens is 5 cubits. You know that because you use 5 cubits of string to make it with. So this word's really important. The outside of a shape, the distance around the outside is called the perimeter. Okay, that's a really important word. I want to see you using that as much as you can at home when you're describing shapes. Talk about the perimeter of it, the outside. Okay, if you can learn that now, it'll make a big difference later on. Okay, so I want to have a quick discussion. I want to have some ideas. Can you post on the chat? Okay. So who can tell me anything that is not great about measuring things in cubits? What are the problems with measuring things using a cubit? If you've got any ideas, please write it on. I'd love to hear from you with your ideas about what's bad about measuring in cubits, because it's not great, to be honest. Okay? What do you think there?
I think it's because that you've only literally got your arm. That's the only, and it's quite hard to make a rule out of it.
Yeah, when you were trying to measure yourself, it was tricky, wasn't it?
Yeah, because that wasn't one.
Okay, let's have a look at some of these answers. Not easy to do. Measuring circles, or measuring circles is tricky with everything with a ruler. That's a great answer. Yeah, very good. Oh, look at this one from Ted in Sussex. Everyone's arm is a different length. So my cubit is probably quite a lot bigger than a lot of your cubits. So if I say something is 4 cubits, you might say it's 5 cubits. You might have an argument about it. So they're different lengths, aren't they? They are different lengths. Brilliant, that one there. The older you are, your cubit will be longer. Very good. Can't measure weights for baking in cubits. Yes, very good. This is just for distance though. You're absolutely right. It's just for distance. Arms different lengths. Okay, that is the main one definitely. Okay. People measure in half units as well. What about if you had to measure something really, really small in cubits? Okay, or really, really big? Brilliant. Alexia says if you were to measure a house and leisure centres in cubits, it's going to take ages. You're going to be going like this for ages and ages, aren't you? It's not great using your arm either. Brilliant answers, fantastic. Okay, and this is why we're trying to get the grips of what measurement is and why it's important. So this is not brilliant. So what we did, if you imagine for now, it's not going to be hard. I was the pharaoh, the leader of Egypt. What I decided and said, you know what, I'm fed up of everyone using their own cubits. So we are going to use my cubit from now on, and I'm going to call it the royal cubit. So we're going to use a royal cubit from now on, and everyone used the pharaoh's arm. Now they didn't cut it off, that would be a bit hard for me. So instead of that, they made a royal cubit. Out of gold, they made a golden rod, and this was the royal cubit. And then everyone measured using the golden rod. Okay, so they almost made a ruler to start with. Okay, and this is where it all started from. And this is how they made the pyramids, which are perfect. The pyramids are absolutely amazing. No one knows how they managed to get those blocks, those heavy, heavy blocks, all the way up to the top. They had no machinery or anything like that. They managed to do this, and it was all planned perfectly with maths. Okay, so rather than using cubits now, we use something different. These are the units. Now a unit is something like a cubit. It's something we measure in. So when we talk about units, we're talking about cubits, but we don't use cubits anymore. These are the ones you need to be aware of. Centimetres for measuring a length. Centimetres are very small. A metre is about that long, so a metre is bigger. Okay?
100 centimetres.
A metre is 100 centimetres actually. Weight, okay? You don't know too much about these, but grams is what you use for baking. So if you're measuring small things, you might say, I'm making some cupcakes, okay, I need to put 150 grams of flour in. There are other units as well, like ounces, but you need to concentrate on grams. Kilograms is for heavy things like people. I weigh about 80 kilograms, okay? You might weigh about half of that, about 40 kilograms. So weight is how heavy things are. So think all the time about how heavy things are. If you get food from the supermarket, look at the back of the packet. It will tell you how many grams it is. Start getting used to how heavy things are. And volume is all about liquids for you, about bottles. Millilitres and litres. Okay? So if you think about one of those big bottles of like pop, big bottle of lemonade or Coke, that is 2 litres. Okay? There are 1,000 millilitres in a litre. And smaller drinks, like smaller cups, might be like something like 200 millilitres, 100 millilitres. So have a look at some bottles. You don't need to know these, but have a look at the back of bottles when you're drinking something and think, how much is this? Just start getting used to it. This we're going to be working on, centimetres and metres. Okay, so a centimetre is about the thickness of your finger. Okay, I said the thickness of a child's finger, it's about how thick your finger is. So if you look at that measurement there, from there to there, is about a centimetre. Okay, so if you're thinking how big a centimetre is, just look at your finger. Alright, that's a really good way to think about it. Okay, a metre is about that big. It's 100 centimetres, so it's 100 fingers, so that's 10 fingers there. Okay, 100 fingers will be a metre. Okay, so think about your metres and your centimetres. So we're going to be measuring things in centimetres. So I'm going to show you how to measure something. It's really important you are accurate, and that means as perfect as you can be. So try being as accurate as possible when measuring things. So be as perfect as you can. So this was a toy car here. I've got my ruler. I've got 0, the edge of the ruler at the edge of the car. I've lined it up straight, and then I end up with 11 centimetres there for this one. So each one of those is a centimetre. A finger gets you to 11 centimetres for this car if I was measuring that. Okay, and you are going to be measuring loads of stuff in a bit of a race, a bit of a scavenger hunt in about 1 minute. So, just before, you need to know some different terms. If we talk about the length of something, this is the longest side of that shape. So the length of a rectangle, because you know a rectangle has a short side and a long side, or a shorter side and a longer side. The length will be the longest side of the rectangle. The width would be this length here, the shorter bit of the rectangle. So think about length and width. And a final bit before we start measuring, okay? Who remembers what I said about perimeter? So a little challenge for you on the chat. What is the perimeter of this rectangle? See if you can work that out. What is the perimeter of this rectangle?
8 centimetres.
Write it down here so I can be in your book. So see if you can write down on the chart the perimeter of this rectangle. Very good there, that's impressive.
Just added up the sides of it. Can I go to the toilet?
Yep. Okay, some fantastic answers to perimeter there. Brilliant, brilliant work. You've really all understood that. So, the total perimeter is all the way around the outside. But remember, if this is a rectangle, if we know this side is 4, this side is 4 as well. If this side is 6, this side is 6. So we've got 6, add 4, add 6, add 4. It's all the way round, so it's 20 centimetres. Well done for writing your centimetres in as well. Very good to show what units. If you put 20 down, how do I know you don't mean 20 cubits? So you should always write centimetres or cm for short when you're describing these lengths. Okay, so the scavenger. You're going to have 10 minutes to find as many of these things and measure them and write them down. Okay? Maybe I'm going to give you maybe 7 minutes to see how many you can do. Okay, so those are the 10 things you are trying to find. So you can just write them in your books. Number 1, write down how long it is. Number 2, write down how long it is. So you've got 10 things. The length of a toy car, the width of a piece of printer paper. That's an A4 piece of paper. So that is a piece of paper that size.
That's my book.
The width of a mobile phone screen, length of one of your shoes, length from your elbow to the tips of your fingers, length of your TV remote control, height of a door, perimeter of a £5 note, perimeter of a mobile phone screen, perimeter of a stamp. Okay, so you need to go and find those things and measure them. Off you go.
Okay, let's go.
So
Let's do a piece of paper. Okay. Oh, where's my page? Where's my page?
there you got it. Be accurate with those measurements as well. Let's try and get them close.
There's a bit for a mobile phone screen.
Carefully.
Width. Oh.
The width, which is the width you got it.
I need to take my finger off.
What do you think? Sorry, it's shaking.
7.
We're just measuring a mobile phone screen that we're filming with. Oh, yes.
Sorry.
No, Theo, just get on with it. Just get on. Don't go on this camera, please.
Yeah, for my shoes.
Okay, we've got about 6 minutes left to keep measuring for these. If you want to challenge yourself more, questions 8, 9 and 10 are the more difficult ones. 8, 9 and 10 are the more difficult ones.
From your elbow to the tip of your fingers. That's easy. 1. For your TV.
Okay, some really good answers here I can see. You can post some of your answers if you want, you don't need to. But if you want to check some of them, I think I have written some answers down on the next slide, although something looks like it hasn't updated.
Height of a door.
Tricky one. Height of the door. There you go then.
Okay, just this door. Okay. Okay.
Maybe go to that one.
Oh my gosh, how am I going to do this?
Maybe you can measure half of it.
Half of it? But what's half of it?
Or maybe you think halfway goes.
I think this is.
Okay, maybe you go to there then, and then you could work it out from that.
25.
You're someone finished already.
30. 50. Oh, I need help. I can't.
That's good, that's
I
good.
can't work out.
That was good there, what you did. That's very good.
25. 100.
I can walk up this if you want.
125. So it's 200. 250. So that 200. Some sort of a £5 note. Oh, it's a £5 note. I need a £5 note from somewhere.
I don't think I've got one. Oh no.
Oh, how can I?
I'll skip that one for now here.
No, we've got a £5 note in here.
Oh, is it 5 pound? Oh, there is one. Oh, very lucky.
I knew it, I knew it.
There you go.
From Nanny. Perimeter. So that is 7 centimetres. 14. So double 7 equals 12 and double 14 equals 28. So 12 and 28 equals, if I add 1 up to it, 38. In centimetres. 1, 12, 28. Very right. And then 42. Okay, 9. Put on the mobile screen. Okay.
You've got the length ready, haven't you?
Yeah.
You just measure the length now, don't you?
I just need to measure to measure this part.
You've done that bit already, haven't you?
Just need to measure. I just need to measure the length equals 14 centimeters. 14 centimeters. I've already written that one down. Width 3, 7, and 14. So double 14 equals 28. 12. Hold on a minute. I don't think it equals 42 centimeters again.
It could be, you never know. It is similar to a £5 note. It is similar, yeah.
But if you say similar, it can't be the same.
Well, no, it could be the same.
I'm going with the same. Let's go with the same. 42 centimeters again.
Okay, last 30 seconds.
Oh, this is unfair now. Okay, put him over stamp. I need a stamp. Where's the stamp?
There's one by the keys in the bowls.
Oh, this is so hard. Oh, come on, where do I keep the stamp? There you go. Hey. Put over stamp. Okay. Equals 2 centimeters.
Now, all of your answers are going to be slightly different for some of these. I have got a range of answers that I think I've got, but it completely depends on stuff like your toy car, depends on how big your toy car is. Okay? Right, okay, we're going to look at these, alright? So, great measuring, everyone. Okay, let's have a look. I hope I've got the right one on here. No, I haven't updated it yet. Alright, that's annoying. Right, okay, I'm going to write these on the board because I've got my answers here. Right, I've got, for a toy car, anything between about 6 and 20 centimetres, depending how big your toy car is. A piece of printed paper is supposed to be 21 centimetres wide exactly, okay?
23.
Width of the mobile phone screen is, that's not right at all. Width of the mobile phone screen is about 5 centimetres, something around 5 centimetres. The length of your shoe, one of your children's shoes, is going to be about 15 to 30 centimetres, but well, not 15 to 25 centimetres. Length of your cubit is going to be about 25 to 40 centimetres. Length of your TV remote will be about 16 to 25 centimetres. Height of your door, tricky one that one, it's about 2 metres, so about 200 centimetres to 250 centimetres, anything between 200 and 250. A £5 note is between 36 and 40 centimetres, something around that. Mobile phone screen is very similar, about 36 to 35, and the perimeter of a stamp is really small. You are looking at really about 7 centimetres, 6 centimetres, something as small as that, maybe about 8 centimetres. Okay, so some measuring there. You've got to try and be as accurate as you can with what you're doing. That's really important. So, just before we go on to some bingo, okay, I want to see, I've got 2 shapes there and also some shapes on the board there. Can you work out the perimeter of these different shapes, and do you know the names of them as well? So can you work out the perimeter? Remember what the perimeter is? It's all the way around. It's a string you use to make your shape with. So it's a string you use to make your shape with. Can you work out the perimeter of these shapes? These will be measured for you so you know how long they are. You've just got to work out the perimeter. Okay, and this is more difficult than you would ever need until you get to like year 5 and 6, but it's important to learn it earlier because you get confused otherwise. So perimeter, the string you use to make these shapes. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions there for perimeter. So can you work those out? You can post this on the chat if you want, that's absolutely fine. I'll just rename these A, B, C, D, E. Alright, so what we're doing now is we're working out the perimeter of these shapes. If you just missed that bit, I want you to write down the perimeter of these shapes and just think about, do you know the names of them as well? Okay, so the perimeter of each shape.
Daddy, can we just do the ones on the board or the ones
Yeah,
on
you do whichever one you want. Yeah, I'm going to go.
Let's do the ones on the
Okay,
board.
okay, you can see those better, that's fine.
Can you see them?
I want the perimeters of them as well. It's a real key word, perimeter. Use it as much as you can. It will make such a difference later on. When you get to high school, if you know what the perimeter is, it is going to be a huge difference.
Trapezium. Oh my gosh, I don't really know. 6, 9, okay. Double 3 equals 6. So that equals 12. I cannot.
Yeah, sorry, C and A are the same. I wasn't sure my PowerPoint had saved, so that's the same as A. So it's the same as that question there. Don't worry about it. We've done it one anyway.
So that's 12. So it equals 21.
Yeah, then you've got one more 3 to add on, haven't you?
21. No.
Oh no, that's right. So that's right. Yeah, very good. Don't forget to put your centimeters. Don't forget to put your units on as well. Some lovely answers coming in. Well done, everyone.
Equals 10. Add 24 equals 34.
Okay, right, we're going to stop there, give you some answers just so I don't want to run out of time for bingo. So, the first one on the board, when you add together all those, you end up with 21 centimetres. Name of that shape, it is a trapezium because it's got just one pair of parallel sides. The rectangle, so you've got 8 and 4 is 12. We're going to have another 12 there, so that gives you 24 centimetres. That one was the same as that one, so 21 centimetres. This shape here, really important one. If you've missed my shape lesson, please watch it. This is not a diamond. That is not a proper name for a shape, even though... What programme did you see it on? Was it GoJet you saw it on or something? Pockio. Oh.
Yes, go
Pockio, CBBS, they are calling it diamond. It's wrong. This is a rhombus. And 7, 7, 7 and 7 is 28 centimetres. And another rectangle here, 12, 12, 5 and 5 is going to give you 34 centimetres. Okay, that's some really advanced work there, perimeter. And I know you can do it, which is why I'm teaching it a little bit earlier to some of you than you would learn it. But please remember what that word means. I normally teach GCSE in high school, so I know this is an issue when people getting perimeter mixed up with another word, which I'm not even going to say what that word is now, but they get it mixed up with something else because they learn them together. We need to learn this earlier on. Perimeter of shapes, you can work at the perimeter of everything just by doing what we've done. Think back to your dens with your string and you won't go wrong later on. Okay, we are going to play time bingo now. So, this is an example bingo card. So, I want you to get 9 squares, 9 blocks to write your numbers in, but we're going to write times in. And the times you can have is anything between 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock, and you're allowed half past, quarter to, quarter past, or o'clock. So write those in your grid, and then we're going to play bingo with that. So I'm going to give you a minute, maybe a minute and a half to write those in your grid. Feel free, help your child if you want. I know it can take a while to write some of these times. If you want to write it in digital, you can write it in digital. If you're confident with that, that's not a problem. But write your times in. So it's between 6 and 12, and that's an example there. You can use whatever times you want on 9 squares in a grid.
Oh, Daddy, can you help me draw my grid? I accidentally draw 12. go for the jigsaw.
Okay, that's cool. Let's get it there. Right.
Can you help me write them down?
Button digital is part of the thing, isn't it?
Okay. 6.
You can't do 10 past, just quarter past, half past, quarter to, and o'clock. Okay, 10 past isn't going to come up. I'm just going to be doing the quarter ones. So no 10 past, just quarters, halves, o'clock. Stick to halves. If you're not confident with quarter to and quarter past yet, stick to the ones you are confident with. Okay. And the winners of the bingo as well, the fastest people to fill up their grid, I'm going to put your names into a question at the start of the next lesson as well.
Right.
Remember, your times need to be between 6 and 12.
Oh, 7.5.
Okay, you with here? Okay, we are going to get ready, so eyes down, ready for bingo magic. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to show you the first number on the big clock. Let's check everyone can see that. Not quite. Okay, so I'll show the big number on the big clock, and then you can tick it off that you got it. Oh, so I forgot the very important rules. We are playing for full house, so all 9 squares you need to get. When you have 2 squares to go, you need to stand up at home and go shaky shaky. Very important. You can post it on the chat as well now, so I can see who's on shaky shaky. When you've got just 1 number left, stand up and shout top banana. And when you win, shout bingo, and make sure you post it on the chat. I'm looking for the fastest people. Okay, so here we go. Your first number on time bingo is, I'm going to point my little hand first because you always put the little hand on the clock first. Halfway between 11 and 12. And the big hand is going to be pointing straight down to 6. So that is your first time to tick off your grid if you are lucky enough to have that time. Okay, I'll read this one out. That is 11:30. So 11:30. If you've got half past 11 or 11:30, half past 11, tick it off your grid. Next time. Next time. Nice easy one. I'm going to point this one straight to 7. You should know what time it is already because I'm pointing that straight to 7. This is your tester. It checks out if you get right, points to 12. Okay, so if you got that time, Tick it off your grid.
It's upside down.
Next time, tricky one, tricky one. My little hand is going just a little bit past 8. It's not 8 o'clock. If you had a party at 8 o'clock, I'm afraid you're a little bit late. You are late by this many minutes. Think about what time that is. Just a little bit later than 8 o'clock. So think about what time that means. Okay? So that would be 8:15, or in digital, 8:15 if you're using digital. Okay, next one. It's bingo magic. We've got, it's parties at 11 o'clock. I'm afraid we're a little bit late again. We're a bit late because it's this time here. You are late again.
Okay, now.
Okay, so 11, past 11, 11:15. Okay, next time. We got any shaky shakies? Surely not yet. We need to have 2 left for shaky shaky. Remember, next time. Okay.
Somebody
The
says.
party's at 11 o'clock. And look when we've arrived. Party's at 11, we've arrived. Little hand pointing to 11, big hand pointing straight up. We are on time for the party. Well done. Next one. Bath time is at 6 o'clock. But we're a bit late for bath time. Too busy watching TV. So it is. That time there, just past 6 o'clock. Big hand over there, just to tell you to check. You definitely know what time it is.
6:15 digital.
Next one. Lazy morning. You've wanted to wake up at 9 o'clock. That was the plan. I'm going to wake up at 9. But I'm afraid you're a little bit late with that. You're a little bit late to wake up and you get out of bed at that time. Lazy bones.
Where's my 9? Where's my 9?
Okay, think about what time that is. That is 9:15. Oh, we got a shaky shaky. Shaky shaky from Debbie Finley. Shaky shaky. And Michelle as well. Shaky shaky as well. Top banana already. A top banana. Wow, wow, wow. Some very lucky people there. You've got, oh, lucky, lucky, lucky. Remember, we need all 9 to win. Top banana. We're going to get bingo. Another shaky shaky. There's another shaky shaky in the house. Another shaky shaky. Where's my top banana as well? Where's my little friend?
Oh, poor Top Banana.
Oh, really?
I think Top Banana's gone to bed today.
I lost top banana. Oh, no.
Top Banana must have
Top
gone.
banana's here in spirit anyway. He's here. He's here. Right, okay, next one anyway. Okay, important time. Halfway between 9 and 10. Right down at the bottom. There's your next bingo number. There's your next bingo number. Don't have any. Oh, how can you not have any? That is so unlucky. So unlucky.
I've crossed a few off mine.
Okay, next one. I don't know how. They've got these shaky, shaky people. They're 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't even have a top banana yet. I want to see your bingo cards, please, when we are posting these in. Right. Okay, so what time is it out then? 9:30. Here we go. We are going to, this time, we are at exactly 10 with a little hand and at 12, so you know it has to be 10 o'clock for your next bingo number. 10 o'clock. Bingo! We got a bingo! We've got a bingo! We got 2 bingos. We got Shelley Bax as bingo.
And
Debbie Finlay has bingo as well. We are going one more bingo though. I want 3 winners. So we got 2 bingos. It's bingo magic. Okay, so we're going to look. We're still going to go for one more winner. One more winner for bingo. We've got some shaky shakers. We've got some top bananas. Next one. The time is little hand. Halfway between 8 and 9. Big hand all the way down.
I really forgot about that.
Does that give us a bingo? Does that give us any more shaky shakers or top bananas?
I so forgot about 1/2 past.
Don't wait there, just a bit chance.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Some very lucky bingo players here. Next one. I can't remember writing. We're going to go with that. It is dead on 9. Big hand. Straight to the top. It's 9 o'clock. And we got a bingo! We got another bingo from Aideen Silk. Right. Top banana bingo. Brilliant there. Brilliant there. Okay. Right. Magic tricks. I will be doing a magic trick on Friday actually at the start of the lesson. Quite a good magic trick if you are interested in learning about decimals and times by 10 and 1,000. Oh no, Shelley, no. Bingo is not a full line. We said we were playing for a full house. Oh dear. We've got a definite bingo. 3 boxes. Oh no, those are not bingos. Right. Okay. We are adding a lesson anyway. I will have a look at those. Okay, we definitely got some bingos there. Can you please, if you won the bingo, okay, if one of those people, can you just send me a message, just a message to help your kids maths, just with your child's name and something they're into as well that I can try and put into the question. So if they're into a particular football team or something, let me know that. Just send me that message and we'll go from there. Also, if you've got any pictures, I'm going to put a place that you can post some pictures of your dens. I really want to see some dens, and then I will give out some certificates for some of the best dens that you've managed to make. So I'll put that post separately so you can post your den pictures, but I hope you all had a good time. I hope you learnt a lot. These measurements are really important. Keep working about the word perimeter, and whenever you see stuff, keep measuring things or keep guessing how much they are. Guessing is often better than measuring. If you look at, say, I don't know, if you look at this a cat, try and guess how long it is. Try and guess how long its tail is. Just, you don't need to go and measure it, but just getting used to how big things are is really, really important. Not for maths, just for general life. Okay, I will see you. We'll have a full set of lessons next week as well. There's a lesson on Friday. It could be quite tricky unless you're in year 3 or above, but by all means have a go. It's times in by looking at some decimal work. It'll be really important for year 5, year 6, and even going on to year 7, year 8 as well. Okay, so have a great day, stay safe, and hopefully the schools will be open soon enough. If not, I will be here trying to help you learn some maths.
You did get to 200, to be honest. You did get to 200.
Thanks.
201, but then it went down a lot.
Off, Theo.